Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Florida's next United States Senator, Connie Mack.
Good evening, Jacksonville. How are you? You ready to take back the White House? I thought you might be. Hey, how did you enjoy John Androzek with Five for Fighting? Yeah, he's a really good guy. Did you enjoy his song, Freedom Never Cries? Hopefully we get to hear that some more. I want to thank you all very much for coming out. You know, this is an important election. This is an election about what the future of America is going to be. Is our future going to be in more debt and more regulation and more taxes? Or is our future going to be in less taxes, less regulations, and more freedom? You know, I believe in Mitt Romney. I think he is the right candidate at the right time to be the next president of the United States. You know, in the state of Florida, we have 820,000 people out of work, people who are looking for work, people who have given up looking for work. We need someone in the White House that understands how jobs are created, that it's not government that creates jobs, it's individuals that create jobs. When Mitt Romney is president, he's going to need another United States Senator, Republican United States Senator from Florida. How many here have already voted? All right. And for those of you who haven't, wake up tomorrow morning, go to the polls and vote. Can you do that? Now, what I want you to do is after you vote for Mitt Romney, just go down the ballot a little more and vote for Connie Mack. Can you do that? You know, there are big differences between Senator Nelson and myself. He was the deciding vote for Obamacare. I voted against Obamacare. Senator Nelson has voted for higher taxes 272 times. I voted to cut taxes. Senator Nelson voted to gut our military. I voted to strengthen our military. So a couple things happened when I beat Senator Nelson. The first thing is that Marco Rubio will become a chairman of a committee in Washington. The second thing that happens is Harry Reid will no longer control the agenda in the United States Senate. So Florida, we're counting on you. We're counting on you to get out there and vote for Mitt Romney. I'm counting on you to go out and vote for me. Together, we'll make sure that Mitt Romney's the next president, that I'm the next senator. We'll get this country moving again. We'll go in the right direction. We'll put people first over government any day of the week, right? I have the honor tonight to introduce someone to you that you know very well. Someone that has been a great leader for the state of Florida, as governor of the state of Florida. And he continues to be a great leader for America. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeb Bush.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Connie Mack's going to be a great United States Senator, just like his dad was. Work hard for him the next 6 days. Now, I know in Jacksonville you guys have the much renowned curvature effect, which means the hurricanes never come to Northeast Florida. I've been told that. But you love this state, and you're from Florida, and you recall how we suffered through 8 hurricanes and 4 tropical storms in 16 months, and how we came together as a people, and how we depended upon the Salvation Army and the American Red Cross, churches all around the country, in fact, all around the world. People came to Florida in our time of need. We had $100 billion of losses. Over 1 million homes were not just partially destroyed, but completely destroyed. We had people that were one paycheck away from having a problem before the storms and then got into serious problems. And guess what? The American spirit was alive and well. People got took care of their families and their friends. They came from all over and they provided support. And so now it's our turn. Now it's our turn to show the generosity of the American spirit. It's our turn to pay back those that live in New Jersey and New York and Connecticut and all across the Northeast. And by the way, the next time you see a first responder that we take for granted, a fireman, a police officer, someone who's been working in emergency response in Duval County or one of the counties around here, give them a big hug and say thank you, because without them, we'd be in much worse shape. So now on to the main event. I am so excited to be here in support of Mitt Romney, who will be a person of great integrity, someone of great courage, a conservative that will get things done instead of the yapping that goes on in Washington, D.C. right now. Our country has huge problems, structural problems that require people that actually want to solve problems rather than just talk about it or excuse away why it is that things are working. You know, President Obama was dealt a tough hand. We were told that. We hear this every day almost if you watch TV. You know, and of course it's my brother's fault for everything that goes on. It's almost as though the dog ate my homework is the reason why we're going through tough times. But let me tell you, Mitt Romney, from day one, job one, will be to restore the American economy so people can be able to pursue their dreams as they see fit, by limiting government and expanding the possibilities for people to be successful, to build capacity so people don't have to get in line and be dependent upon government. No one wants to do that. We all want a society where the next generation has more opportunities than what we have. And that restoration of the American dream is what this election is about. Are we going to reverse the track we're on, which is a false sense of economic security, where we get in line, basically, and have the government try to solve our problems for us, as if that's ever worked in American history? Or are we going to restore American greatness the way we know it works best, which is to unleash the American spirit, to create high-wage jobs in a strategic way, with a guy as president that will work to build solutions rather than just talking about things? Mitt Romney, you know what? I was governor of this state for 8 years, and I had to work with a lot of Democrats, but I had to work with a lot of Republicans as well, because they were in the majority the whole time. Imagine what it'd be like to be a governor of a state where 85% of the legislature was in a different party. It would require a type of leadership that had humility at the start, that was principled, that would be focused on creative ways to solve problems. That's what we desperately need in our country right now. A guy whose entire adult life has been about finding common ground and finding solutions, not abandoning principle, but focused on solving problems. Imagine a country that began to solve its problems. That's what we have in front of us in the next 6 days. We need a president who is willing to roll up his sleeves to begin to solve these problems, and American greatness will surge immediately. This is the greatest country on the face of the earth. So here's the deal. Just about everybody raised their hand saying they've already voted, but I bet you know 10 people that haven't. So your job, you don't know 10 people? Well, find 4 in your case. Everybody else find 10 people that haven't voted and convince them to make sure they vote early or vote on election day. And if you get them really jazzed up, convince them to find 10 people. You do that, we will have Florida in the winning column for Mitt Romney, and Mitt Romney will be the next president of the United States. So with that, I hope you give our next speaker a spectacular Northeast Florida, Jacksonville welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States, Mitt Romney.
With help like that, with energy like that, I think we're going to win Florida, don't you? Now, I want to thank Governor Jeb Bush. What a great leader. What a great man you have in Governor Bush. I want to thank Congressman Connie Mack for getting into this race, and he's going to win and surprise a lot of people next Tuesday night. And by the way, John Ondrasik, what a wonderful talent. What a good man. And thank you, John, for entertaining and for supporting and for helping so many people come together to make contributions to the American Red Cross. A great American. Appreciate his help. And I know Senator John Thrasher is here as well, somewhere. I know he's here. And right back here. And I'm looking. Oh, he's somewhere. And Congressman Crenshaw is here. Where's Congressman Crenshaw? Over here, right over here. Thank you. There they are, down in the corner. There's John. I see him here. Congressman Crenshaw, thank you for. We got to make sure to elect both these gentlemen time and time again. They're good men, and appreciate their help tonight. We're excited tonight because we know that we're getting closer to a big change in this country, real change. We also have full hearts because we know our fellow Americans in some parts of our country are struggling through some real tough times with the hurricane that hit the Atlantic coast. And again, I just want to underscore what John Ondrasik said, which is if you have the ability to help out, please provide some resources to people there and give calls to your loved ones and keep folks in your thoughts and prayers. It's a big part of what America is. When there are challenges, we come together and help one another, and that help is needed now. So thank you, America. Thank you, Florida, for your help. Now, I think people are coming together in another way right now, and that is people recognize that this is an extraordinary opportunity for America, that we face great challenges, but there are great opportunities as well. And I think you're going to find the American people coming together and voting for real change on November 6th. And you know, we talk about the challenges, but I hope you understand just how real they are. Because there are 23 million Americans tonight, 23 million Americans that are struggling to find a good job. There are 1 out of 6 Americans that are living in poverty. 47 million Americans are on food stamps. We have 50% of college graduates. Think of this in America. 50% of kids coming out of college can't find work or college-level work. These are real challenges here at home. And then around the world, Iran is rushing to become nuclear, and we face competition economically of a different kind from nations like China. We face some real challenges, but I have to tell you, good things are going to happen in America. I'm optimistic about our future. I understand what it takes to get this country going again and to bring back the kind of greatness that we depend upon. You see, I actually have a plan for getting America back and for strengthening our foundation. And my plan creates some 12 million jobs, and that, by the way, creates more take-home pay, which people badly need. I mean, you know what it's been like. I go across the country. I just had a telephone call with a lot of people in Nevada. We were talking about challenges there, and their home values are down, and people are having a hard time making ends meet. The median income in America has dropped by over $4,000 over the last 4 years. So today, people are earning $4,300 less per year than they earned 4 years ago. At the same time, the costs of things like gasoline have gone up $2,000 a family. Health insurance premiums up $2,500 a family. We have food prices are up, electricity rates are up. These are tough times for the people of America. So my plan to create 12 million jobs is needed and needed now. And it has 5 parts. And I want to tell you what they are. Number 1, we're going to take full advantage of our energy, our oil, our coal, our gas, our nuclear, and renewables. And that creates a lot of jobs, not just in the energy sector, but in places that use energy. Manufacturing, for instance, uses a lot of energy in many cases. And by having low-cost energy, and we have it and will continue to have it if we take full advantage of these resources, you're going to see manufacturing come back to this country. It's already beginning in the area where they use natural gas. This is big for our country. That's number 1. Number 2, it's a very helpful thing if a nation has the most productivity in the world, and we do. By the way, I used to hear the word productivity, and I wondered what that meant. What they do is they look at everything that a country makes, everything they manufacture, all the services they sell, they add it all up and divide it by the number of people in the workforce. That's output per person. And we are the most productive major nation in the world. And because we're so productive, trade helps us. As we open up doors for trade, we can sell goods and services to other places in the world. It makes us better off. And I want to open up trade for America, particularly more trade in Latin America, where the language and the proximity gives us a real advantage. I want to make sure, however, that people who we trade with follow the rules. China hasn't always followed the rules. I'll stop them if they take away jobs through unfair trade practices. So number 1, energy, and number 2, trade. Number 3 is making sure our people have the skills they need for the jobs of today, and that our schools are giving our kids the skills they need for the jobs of tomorrow. Now, your governor here knows something about that. He's a national leader, probably the national leader in education. And he did some things I've copied in my plan for the nation. Number 1, he makes sure that schools are evaluated in a transparent way so that you know how well a school is doing. They get graded here in Florida, A through F. And number 2, if a school's not succeeding, he makes sure that the kids and their parents are able to send their child to a school that is of their choice. So I'm going to take federal dollars, and instead of giving them to the schools, I'm going to have them follow the student so parents can choose the school their child needs to go to. Number four doesn't sound to a lot of people like it has a lot to do with jobs, but it does. Let me tell you why. It relates to debt and deficits. And that is, if you're an entrepreneur thinking of risking your life savings to start a business, or if you're some big international corporation and you're thinking about where you're going to build a new factory, if you think America is on the road to Greece or Italy or Spain, you're less likely to invest in America. And right now we keep spending about $1 trillion more than we take in every year. It's bad for jobs. It's bad for the economy. I think it's immoral for us to pass on debts like that to our kids. And I will get America on track to a balanced budget. And number five is to be a champion of small business. Help small business grow and thrive. And by the way, I didn't study small business alone. I've lived small business. I know how business works. And I want to use that experience and that skill to help small businesses across the country. And there are a lot of ways to do that. Let me mention just a couple. One relates to our taxes. And that is this. Do you realize that the taxes paid by a small business in America can be as high as 35%? That's the income tax. And then if you add other taxes, the payroll tax, the state income tax, if your state has a state income tax, real estate tax, sales tax, why you can find small businesses spending as much as 50% of what they earn on government, on taxes. And as a result of that, you got a lot of people saying, why would I go out and start a business if I'm lucky enough to have it successful? The government's going to take half of what I make back. And so, by the way, some other nations have figured this out. Canada's lowered their corporate tax rate to 15%. Ours is 35%. They've lowered it to 15%. Why? Not because they want less money. They know that if they have businesses grow and thrive there, more people will work. They'll get better jobs, higher incomes, and they'll get more money. So that's how it works. So I want to bring our tax rates down to help small businesses and make it easier for entrepreneurs to start them. Another thing I want to do is make sure that we understand how to make regulations work for small business. By the way, sometimes people in our party say we want to deregulate, and that's kind of an overstatement. We want to get rid of excessive regulation and outmoded regulation, but we know you have to have some regulation to make an economy work and for people to be able to play by rules. But sometimes regulators seem to look at businesses like they're the enemy. And I have small business people tell me from time to time, I feel like government is battling me. I like business. I like small business. I want to make sure our regulations help small business grow and make it easier for them to expand. Now, by the way, to get those things done, to create those 12 million jobs, to get us on track to a balanced budget, I mean, those are words I offer pretty easily, but you know, that's going to take some real work. People have been talking about this for decades. To get that done is going to require something in Washington that's spoken about but not done. And it's something I have to do. I've got to be able to reach across the aisle and get good Democrats and good Republicans to work together. Good Democrats love America just like good Republicans love America. I happen to be elected in a state that has a few Democrats, Massachusetts. My legislature was about 85% Democrat. And it was not lost on me that to get anything done at all, and even to have my veto upheld, I had to have people across the aisle I could work with. And when I came into office, we had a multi-billion-dollar budget gap. And instead of having a battle between myself and the legislative leadership, we actually sat down every week, got to know each other. Every week we met in one or the other of our offices. We talked about the challenges we faced. We looked for common ground. We often had differing points of view and couldn't come together, but sometimes we found common ground. We found ways, for instance, to not just to slow down the rate of the growth of government in our state, we actually cut spending in our state. And then I did something else with the legislature. We cut taxes 19 times, made our state more business friendly. And by the end of 4 years, instead of a $3 billion budget gap, we had a $2 billion rainy day fund. It can happen. It's got to happen. I want you to know that I'm optimistic. I'm convinced that the future is brighter than the past. I don't believe our kids are going to have tougher times than we did. I believe that they're going to have brighter times with good job opportunities. I believe kids coming out of college are going to find work again. I believe someone in their 40s and 50s ought to have those as their best earning years with a chance to put a little money away. I think our seniors ought to be confident that their retirement is secure, that their health care is secure. These things can happen again and will. They will happen again. And I'm convinced of that because I've seen the heart of the American people over my lifetime. We're hardworking people. We're entrepreneurial. We're innovative. We're optimistic. I also see in the heart of the American people a greatness and a willingness to live for something bigger than ourselves. I was a leader in the Boy Scouts of America some years ago. Got some Boy Scouters here. And I was at a court of honor. That's where the Boy Scouts get their Eagle Scout awards or other awards. And there was a Formica table at the front of the room, and I was seated at the end of the table next to the American flag. The person who was speaking was the Scoutmaster from Monument, Colorado. And he said that the boys in his troops wanted to have a very special flag, so they bought one, had gold tassels on the outside. They sent it to be flown above the Capitol, and it was. Then when it came home, the boys said, let's have it go on the space shuttle. That'll make it even more special. Scoutmaster said, okay. They contacted NASA. NASA agreed. He said the boys were so proud as they looked from their home rooms at school and watched the shuttle Challenger go up in the sky, and then they saw it explode before their eyes. Scoutmaster said he called NASA a couple of weeks later and said, have you found any remnant of our flag? And they had not. He said he called every week, week after week, month after month, and still nothing. And then one day he was reading an article in the paper about some of the debris that had been found from the Challenger disaster. And in that article, there was a list or a mention of a flag. So he called NASA and said, have you found something you can give to us? And they said, in fact, we'd like to make a presentation to your boys. So NASA came together with the Boy Scout troop of Monument, Colorado, and they presented the boys with a plastic container. And he said, we opened it up, and there was our flag in perfect condition. And he said, that's the flag on the flagpole here next to Mr. Romney. And I reached over and grabbed the flag and pulled it out. And it was as if electricity was running through my arm, because I thought about the people whose lives had been lost in that tragedy. And I thought about the fact that they had walked in danger's way for learning, for knowledge, for pioneering, for something bigger than themselves, for us. I think of our men and women in uniform and their willingness to walk in harm's way, for us, for freedom. I have a favorite verse in one of our national hymns, America the Beautiful. In that hymn, we talk about the rocks and rills and templed hills and Purple Mountain's majesty and all of the great physical characteristics of our land, but there's a verse that touches me more deeply where it says, "Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country love, and mercy more than life." Would our veterans and members of the armed forces please raise your hands so we can recognize you? Thank you. It is part of the American national character to live for things bigger than yourself. Some do that in extraordinary ways, in visible ways. Others do it in ways that are meaningful in their own lives and in their families' lives. My sister is a hero to me. They say that you don't have to be larger than life to be a hero, just larger than yourself. My sister Lynn has 8 children. 7 of them are married with children of their own. The 8th child was born Down syndrome. Lynn is now in her 70s. And Jeffrey, the Down syndrome child, is 43, not child, Down syndrome man now, 43 years old. And Lynn has devoted her life over these last several years since her husband has been passed away, and the years before, to caring for Jeffrey and to make sure he has as full and abundant life as possible. She's a hero to me. as are so many moms and dads who devote themselves to their kids. I think of all the single moms across the country in tough economic times, like right there, and who are scrimping and saving in many cases to be able to put a good meal on the table at the end of the day for their children. Think of the dads and moms who may be working one night shift and one day shift and hardly get any time together, but are doing it so that they'll be able to buy their kids the clothes that other kids at school have so they won't stand out. Think of all the moms and dads who this Christmas have agreed they're not going to exchange gifts with each other because they want to have a better Christmas for their kids. This is who we are as a people. We're a very generous people given to things bigger than ourselves. This is a time when the people of America are going to come together. I'm convinced that November 7th will be a time that we have leadership that will bring us together once again. And I saw a TV show some years ago with a fictional football team in the TV show. It's called Friday Night Lights. You may have seen it. And in the show, the football team would leave the locker room, typically facing long odds from a team that was ranked higher than they. And they'd leave the locker room, and there was a sign above the door that said, "Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose." I'm confident that the people of Florida have very clear eyes. You understand what's at stake in this election. I know you have full hearts, and on November 6th, we can't lose. We're going to get America back. We're going to strengthen this country. We're going to get people to work. This is our time. This is your time. Let's take back America and keep it the hope of the earth. Thank you so very much. You guys are great. Thank you. Thanks, you guys. Thank you.